Hi, this is Peggy from Peggy's Tropical Garden. I'm going to show you step by step how I take a brand new orchid and convert it to semi-hydroponics. First, I want to show you some of my orchids that are growing semi-hydroponically. For many, hydroponics conjures up the image of a big row table in the middle of the floor with all these pumps and hoses and something that's not really attractive. We're not talking about that kind of setup here. I'm going to show you how you can do this in your home and still beautifully display your orchids. I've been growing all of my indoor orchids in this manner for the last 2.5 years. I hope you decide to give it a try. I think you'll like it. With that said, let's get started. Okay, I'll start off by showing you what you'll need. Of course, you're going to need an orchid of some type. And this is what I'll be using. It's one that I just purchased recently in a bag on one of my hauls. You're going to need some kind of cylinder. I like to use clear glass, and I get these from Dollar Trees, and I drilled a hole in them. If you don't know how to drill holes in glass, check out my videos. I have one. I'll put it above. Here's some hydrogen pellets. You'll need those. And some scissors that have been disinfected with some alcohol. You'll also need some hydrogen peroxide. I don't show you that here. And a couple of bins will come in handy also. The first thing you need to do is remove the orchid from the pot. If you have a name tag, set that aside. You'll be able to use that even with them growing hydroponically. So I try not to damage the roots any more than possible, but as you know, these orchids from big box stores oftentimes don't have a very nice root system when you remove them from the pot. I decided to try this one semi-hydroponically because when I purchased it, even though it was one of those orchids in a bag, the growing media is it was soggy wet. I had to wait a day or two for it to dry up, because it's just easier to, for me anyway, it's easier to remove the bark and stuff when it's dry. I've been growing my orchids semi-hydroponically for the last 2 years with really nice results. Before this, I had never had an orchid to rebloom, and I couldn't really keep them alive very long, it seemed. I have some orchids now that I have had for a few years, and I'm getting nice results in terms of blooming. Now here I'm still trying to remove the bark, as much of it as possible, without doing damage to the roots. I don't have to get everything off of here, but I really want to get as much as I possibly can. And I'm squeezing the roots just to see if they're actually live roots, if the roots are viable or not. If they're really squishy and paper thin, or they just pull off and leave a little string behind them, then those are roots that are dead. Here's my progress so far. This one's not looking too bad at all. Now I take one of the bins and I add water to it, and I'm going to soak the orchid in the water to loosen up some of the bark and also to remove any pests that are on the plant. I don't know why I'm acting like I need it to stand up here, because I'm going to lay it down anyway. And I'm just going to leave it in there to soak for a little bit. So it's been about 10 minutes, and now I'm going to check it again to see if I can remove any more of the bark. And I think I haven't let it soak long enough, because this is still really on here, and I would like to get a little bit more of this bark off. I'm able to remove just a few pieces, so I'm putting it back in to soak. All right, it's been 20 more minutes. I'm going to check it out, see how things are going now. This time I actually laid the plant down in there to remove any pests that were on it. And a lot of this is still really stuck. So I think I'm pretty much where I am going to be in terms of removing the bark. Like I said, it doesn't all have to come off. So now what I'm doing, this is what I have for the root system. Looks like I still have some things that could probably be clipped off. So I'm going to go through here, check the roots, anything that looks like it's dead, or these black ones that are flat like tissue paper and things like that. I'm going to go on and clip those off. Now the reason you want to take these off is they're going to break down anyway, and you don't want them sitting there in your potting medium, which in this case is going to be hydrogen pellets. So at least it's not as bad as if it was in, other bark that was breaking down and stuff, because this stuff becomes acidic once it starts breaking down. Now it's not going to be any major problem if there are some roots that are not viable that are left on here. So if you're not sure about some, I would leave them on there, because it's better to have, take a chance that it is going to be a functioning root than to cut off all the good ones and then you have an orchid with no roots. Although semi-hydroponically, I've had some with no roots, and they are also thriving, but that's a whole different video. Now I'll take this hydrogen peroxide and I'm going to spray down the entire plant to include the leaves. And this is a disinfectant, it's an antiseptic, and it also, if there's small pests on there, it usually will kill them also. We want to make sure this plant is as healthy and pest-free as possible. Now we'll take the glass cylinder and we'll start putting in the hydrogen pellets. Now you don't want the goal is to not have your roots sitting down all the way in the water. You want the pellets in the water that's in the bottom, so you don't want the roots past the holes. Does that make sense to you? Now you'll see that my roots, when I put this in, are nowhere near the water, but the hydrogen pellets will act to wick up some of the water to the roots, and the roots will seek that water, and they will grow downward towards it. So now I'm putting in the orchid. At this point, you can play with the hydrogen pellets a little so that you get them at the right level. You want your orchid in there good enough that it's not going to be wobbling around, but you don't want it all the way down in the glass either. And then I'm adding the hydrogen pellets, and I'm going to shake and tap on the glass and everything, because you don't want any big pockets where there's no pellets. Because where there's no pellets, there will be no moisture for the orchid, for the roots. If you've ever been curious about growing semi-hydroponically, I really hope you try this. It's really easy. You don't have to worry about watering. Repotting is a breeze. Like I said, it's been working really well for me. I also like that you can see the root system as the plant grows. If there's a problem with the roots, if there's rot, if there's anything going on, you'll be able to see it. So now I'm taking another look just to see if I see any major pockets in the hydrogen pellets. And as you can see here, there's a couple of places where there's no pellets. So I'm going to use my finger to do some manipulation. And here we go again, tapping on it, trying to get those hydrogen pellets to shift and fill in those gaps. Okay, they shifted enough that I need to add a few more to the top here. Okay, and after we've added those pellets and gotten them all to shift, this is how it looks. Now I'm showing you where the lowest root is, and then I'm showing you where the water holes are. What you want to do is you add enough water that it comes just right up to the holes. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm showing you where the water line is, where my water ends. Okay, go any higher than that and you're going to have a mess. All the water is going to spill out. The purpose of the holes is to flush the hydrogen pellets periodically by just running a lot of water over the top. Because you'll get salt buildup from fertilizers, and it also provides aeration for your roots. I'm just adding the label stick in here, trying to put it where I won't damage any roots, and there we have it. It's that easy. And there you go. And I grow mine indoors under a grow light, but I also have some that are outside on my patio. That's it for this video. Thanks for stopping by Peggy's Tropical Garden. Take care, and don't forget to take time out to do something fabulous in your garden. Bye-bye.